Welcome everyone to another episode of Trending Worldwide. I am the Professor, Scott Adams, and tonight we will do another episode of Trending Worldwide. Many of you may be assuming, Adam, this is going to be a review of tonight's Raw. No, it's not, because nothing of interest happened on Raw. What I would like to do is talk about something that this Raw made me think about. Good storytelling. Linear storytelling. Which this Raw did not have. But I want to talk about something that is an example of good storytelling. And that is Lucha Underground. First, in order to talk about this, you need a little background. Season 1, Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground's world champion throughout the majority of Season 1 was a man who went by Prince Puma, of course, under a mask. He's more commonly known in many of the American federations as Ricochet. He held the belt for the majority of the season and lost the belt to a man named Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes is Lucha Underground's version of The Undertaker. No, he is not a direct rip-off as he wears a lucha mask, meaning he cannot talk and you cannot see the emotions on his face. So, Prince Puma lost the belt to Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes has a manager, Katrina. Katrina is their version of Paul Bearer. Whenever Mil Muertes wins a match, Katrina takes the downed opponent, straddles them, lifts their body up at the waist, and licks their face. Not in a sexual way, it's meant to be very creepy. So, remember that. Puma lost the belt to Muertes with the manager Katrina. Also in Season 1, Lucha Underground had their Trios champion. Their Trios champion is like their tag team division, except instead of a team of 2, it's a team of 3. Their Trios champion for the majority of Season 1 was Son of Havoc, Angelico, and Ivelisse. Ivelisse is a woman. The women that Lucha Underground have do not have their own division. They fight in the same division with the men. Those 3 people were the champion. Towards the end of Season 1, they lost their belts to a team called the Disciples of Death, associated with Mil Muertes. They are kind of like the ministry, like the APA, the Acolytes, and Midian. So they won the belts from Angelico, Ivelisse, and Son of Havoc. Side note, Son of Havoc is more commonly known as Matt Cross, from none other than Brecksville, Ohio. So, remember the story. Puma lost his belt to Muertes. Angelico, Ivelisse, and Son of Havoc lost their belts to the Disciples of Death. Also in the first season, you had a character called Pentagon Jr. Though the guy playing him was in fact Mexican, he was more of a Japanese ninja who had an invisible master who told him to break the arms of every man or woman he faced. As the story goes, he ended up facing, Sexy Star, one of their other women, and was about to break her arm when he was stopped by none other than announcer and former wrestler Vampiro. They had a match on their final episode, only to have it revealed that his secret master the whole time was Vampiro. So remember all of that. Vampiro, Pentagon Jr., Prince Puma, Mil Muertes, Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico, the Disciples of Death. Now let's talk about how they took those storylines and moved them forward. Fast forward into Season 2 last week. I'm not quite sure I understand this part, but somehow Mil Muertes and Katrina now have control over the temple, their arena, instead of the authority figure. As the champions, they make matches and everything else. We have a segment or a vignette in which Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico come back and ask Katrina for a rematch against the Disciples of Death for their Trios titles. Katrina says, nope, Mil Muertes has other ideas. He says that Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico will face each other in a triple threat match that night. The winner of that match will get a world title championship opportunity and match against Mil Muertes that same night. They took the match. Who should win the match? Ivelisse, the girl. Ivelisse is one of the first women to ever get a world title match on cable television in the U.S. She has her match with Mil Muertes. The match starts. And what should happen?
We're a big Abraham's house.
But a commercial. What should happen? But the Disciples of Death come out before the match and take out Son of Havoc and Angelico, so they cannot help Ivelisse in the match. So they cannot defend against outside attacks in the match. So it is now Ivelisse versus Mil Muertes, possibly the Disciples of Death, and Katrina. Very uneven match. The match itself is actually relatively good, considering Mil Muertes is one of their bigger guys, and Ivelisse is, of course, a woman. So, moving on. The match ends as it normally would. Katrina is about to straddle Ivelisse and give her the lick of death, at which point she decides no, she wants Mil Muertes to beat her up some more. Mil begins to grab Ivelisse and is about to beat her up, when who should come in to save Ivelisse, but not Son of Havoc or Angelico, because they've been taken out, but Puma, because Puma has history with Mil Muertes from the previous season. So he has a reason to be out there. He saves Ivelisse, while Mil Muertes is distracted by Prince Puma saving Ivelisse. Who should come up behind him but Pentagon Jr., the man who has essentially been elevated to super main event status and a dark character of his own. He knocks Mil down and breaks Mil's arm. Do Mil and Pentagon have any connection? No. But they're both dark characters. And we last saw Pentagon be elevated against who many consider to be a legend in Mexico in Vampiro. So now we do have two dark characters going after each other. We do have Prince Puma coming in to sort of get restitution against Mil and save somebody else from his horror. And we do have the Disciples of Death and Son of Havoc and Angelico interacting with each other. This is all from the previous season carried over to now from, I would say, roughly October, I believe, was the end of the last season to now. So October, November, December, January, 4 months, and they were able to have continued. Adding into the fact that most of their episodes are taped ahead of time. So there you go. They managed to keep continually between two storylines and start a third storyline in one match. And make it all make sense. Make you understand why each member was out there. WWE doesn't do that. Heck, TNA doesn't even do that. But Lucha Underground does. What you've been listening to are the theme musics to various Lucha Underground stars. Let's see if I can give you an idea who you're listening to. Previously, the first song you heard was Pentagon Jr.'s, followed by, ironically, Phoenix. Interesting piece of information. In real life, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix are actually real-life brothers. This is never discussed on TV, of course, as they're two totally different characters. Currently, you're now listening to Johnny Mundo's theme music. Johnny Morrison. The theme music that's about to start right now is none other than Alberto El Patron. Of course, we all know him as Alberto Del Rio now of the League of Nations, folks. Just a quick idea of some other theme songs. This was originally the theme song by or for Son of Havoc and became the trio's theme song for Son of Havoc, Angelico, and Ivelisse. The song is called Stomper Suit. I hope it's Suit. And it is by a group called the Jet Boys. I was not able to find an Angelico theme. From what I understand, this is his AAA theme music. But it's a song called Bangarang by Skrillex. Obviously very techno because Angelico, before becoming a part of the Trio's champions, was much more than emo character. He'd come in and constantly swash his hair over to the side. Moving on. This is our Hannes Lucha Underground theme song. Let's see if it says who it's by here. It does not, but I do believe it's a real theme song. Interesting fact, our Hannes is the brother of none other than the original Sin Cara. He is the younger brother, I believe, of the original Sin Cara. Folks, this has been another episode of Trending Worldwide. All of the playlists you hear in any of our songs will be in our playlist lists on our channel. If you like what you see, click subscribe and hit that like button and comment below and let us know what you think. This has been another episode of Trending Worldwide.